So today's problem, since there seems to be a endless list of those around here, you're working on this thing. It won't start, no matter how many times I pull it and choke it and give her starting fluid. She just doesn't want to start. She's got good compression. She's got a good spark plug and good air filter. So we're gonna dive into it. It's not the first time she's done this. This thing usually stays outside, unfortunately. And last time this happened, she had water in the fuel. So we're gonna pick it up with the crane and set it on the back gate of my truck, and we're gonna tear into her, see if we can't figure it out. Alright, I decided to relocate. I know the wind is going to be terrible, but because it's just breezy enough to start messing with the microphone on the camera. So I'm going to get this guy up there and we'll go from there. Alright, so now I'm just getting my crane up, and I've sped all this stuff up because it was going to be like an hour-long video, and I was just originally going to let the the camera sound roll and just have a nice, 30 or 40 minute long video, but it was going to be way too long. It was going to end up like an hour, so I went ahead, sped everything up, and did a voiceover to it. It was windy out anyway, so you guys probably don't want to hear a bunch of mic ruffling from the wind, because we always have wind out here. But anyway, so I'm taking the cover off of this thing, and I've done this before. It's actually turned out to be the exact same thing that I thought it was. We ended up having water in the fuel, so there I am draining the carb. Carb is just a 10mm bolt on the bottom of it, and that's the same with the cover for the crank flywheel. So got my drill out. This is something that I usually use. I usually put a impact socket on it, and I just put it in there. You'll see me later starting to turn it with it, but that's what I use to start it, because doing it by hand sucks. And I already checked that we're getting spark. I checked the air filter. I checked suck bang blow. We're good on all that. I know for a fact it's the fuel. And here's me using that drill. I did end up having to reach for the ether on the truck. I sprayed a lot in there, and I don't remember spraying as much as I did this time from the last time that I did it, so I definitely sprayed a lot more this time, but it ended up being alright. Here I am draining all the fuel in the tank. Ended up only being like 1/16 of a gallon. There wasn't hardly any in there, luckily, because last time it was a full tank and that was pretty wasteful. So I've just put a splash in it this time, just to get that thing to pop off a couple minutes, just to let it run. And you see me using this drill. I ended up breaking this drill. There's a little bolt on the inside of that chuck, and that little bolt snapped off because when the engine took off a couple times, it sheared that bolt and overcame the drill and sheared the bolt off. So I gotta get a new bolt for this drill, but it's not like I used the drill a whole lot anyway, so this is probably the second time I've used it, and it was for the same thing. So here's the oil. I'll show you guys the oil later when I decide to drain it and change it. It was like a milkshake. It was not looking good. But am I surprised the engine is still running? Absolutely not. It's a Honda. I have high expectations for them. Same with the Briggs, and the Cumps not so much, but the Briggs and the Hondas, I have high expectations for. So I feel just fine. Didn't feel bad one bit letting this thing turn itself inners around in some milkshake oil for a minute or two before I change it. So, and I'm putting the cover back on. Those are just 10mm bolts, 3 of them. A couple pulls, by a couple I mean quite a few. And it's a little bit more ether and some messing with the choke and the throttle. I finally got her to pop off. So here I am. It's running right now, but I'm playing around with the throttle, checking voltages, making sure everything's looking good. And it was. 240 was producing around 238, 239, and the 110 or the 120 was producing around, I think it was 122, 119. So everything was looking just fine. Here's the oil I'm talking about. And yes, I mean, this thing's only been sitting over the winter, so I had fresh oil on it before I let it sit over the winter. So this is exactly why you keep your stuff inside or covered up with the tarp as much as possible. Definitely making some milkshakes. But like I said, did I have any doubts that this Honda would run without oil on it? Not one bit. I'd actually be kind of mad if it didn't run without oil, because these engines are really well-engineered engines. They can put up with a lot of abuse, and bad oil is definitely one of them. So here I am putting a 10W30 in it. There's a whole setup. Here we are adding fresh oil, and I did flush it out just like I did with the engine drive. So here we are getting ready to start it up and let it run for a while after its oil change. I'm going to go ahead and get it oriented to where I can start it easily. And I got the sound up on this clip so you guys will be able to hear it. Watch this. One pull start. Watch this. I mean, you just don't. I'm playing around with the throttle, you know, just trying to get it to go on without being fully choked. Is what I was doing. Now I'm starting to play with the throttle a little bit. When you see my hand go right over the crankcase, that's what sounds pretty good. She runs just fine, runs nice and steady, no misfires. She's a survivor. What a treat. And I'm opening up the oil cap just a little bit, just to make sure that I got oil spraying out when I do. Just make sure I got good oil pressure. If I didn't have oil spraying out, I'm concerned about where the oil's going and what's going on there, but everything looks good. So in that case, I will take it back down from the workbench or the back gate, and I will go stow it in the garage. That way we don't have this problem again. This will be the second time that it's done this. Not completely sure why that the oil gets the way it does. I understand the fuel because it's on top, but the oil is completely sealed, so I don't know. Well, thanks for watching. Make sure to like it, subscribe it, and all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next one.